So they want it, but they want it within the context of relationships and within the context of the people that really matter for their kids.
Teach Better team, and I'm so thrilled to be here for our daily drop-in that we have the opportunity to do every single morning, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 7 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Eastern, and we just kind of come in and we talk shop, and then you get to hear this as a bonus episode of Teach Better Talk. You get to check it out on our YouTube channel, and these are all stored. So whether you're joining us live or just watching the recording, our hope is that we just get to talk education and be your brainstorming partners. I do have a wonderful guest with me. Laura, I was so excited for Tuesday because I knew that you and I got to be on camera together. So how are you feeling? Good morning.
I am feeling great. The sun is shining. Here in the Midwest, I live in Kansas City. The sun is shining. The birds are chirping. I have the window open a little bit. The kids will be outside in a little bit, which I love. It's a beautiful day. And I'm here with you. So it's even better. And
I do say, yeah, I was so excited because when we were testing your audio and video, I could hear the birds chirping. I'm like, oh, she is in a beautiful space right now. I don't know what your backyard looks like, but you must have just wonderful birds that wake you up in the morning.
Yes, a lot of trees. So
fun.
Yeah.
So I know that we have a lot of things that we're going to be able to talk about. This is kind of the best part of our daily drop-in is that anything is fair game. If people are watching and they want to pose questions to us, that allows us to discuss some ideas to kind of be a brainstorming partner for our network. The only place, though, that you can actually participate in this video is if you're in our private groups. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening as a bonus episode of Teach Better Talk podcast, that's awesome. We're so glad you're here. But if you want to actually be an active part of the conversation rather than just simply being a consumer this morning, feel free to join. It's over at teachbettergroup.com, or you can just go to Facebook and search Teach Better Team. And we have a group of about 4,000 educators, everywhere from K through college professors. I mean, we have classroom teachers, administrators, you name it. If you're in education, you're welcome. But we'd love to welcome you in to actually pose questions and be a part of our discussion. We're already getting some posts for good morning. But Laura, as we start off, if somebody's joining our video and they are not yet connected to you and the amazing work you're doing, will you kind of give us a background? What do you do in education? What does your daily life kind of look like?
Well, thank you for having me here. So I'm Laura Gilchrist. I am a teacher turned consultant on a mission to help every family school community become one team for kids.
It's perfect. And it's so interesting because while I know there's so much more to that, that is truly not only a mission that you continue to echo in all of your posts and all the content you share, all the work that you do, but something that I very deeply connected with from the moment I met you, because that is an amazing mission. So before we have you kind of share more about that, because that was just I feel like a taste of all the work you're doing, I do want to say good morning to Holly. We have Jeff Kaplan with us. Alex is here, Megan, Bree, Andrea, and a special shout out, my favorite baby Luke is always joining our daily drop-in. He does need to come live with us at some point, but baby Luke I don't know how to go live without him really anytime now that COVID-19 is going on. So good morning to everyone. So Laura, now that you've kind of been a teacher turned consultant with this amazing mission, will you tell us a little more about how you're accomplishing that mission, how you're helping teachers and communities really come together as one really well-working ecosystem?
Yeah. So I love that you said ecosystem, because that's something that's an image that I work with. So there's a thing called Parent Camp, and we pivoted about, when COVID started. We had just started we had done a Twitter chat starting, last fall. And we started thinking, we feel like we really want to walk the talk more of our model, which is family school community engagement. So we moved to Zoom before COVID, but we were just doing one topic. So everybody was coming together, and it was we liked it, but it was still missing something. So we shifted it to creating virtual parent camp, an actual parent camp each week for family, school, and community from across the nation and the world. We had our first worldwide guest last week, week 7. No, it was week 6. Yeah, and so we bring everybody together, and we walk the talk like we're practitioners, so that you can see it, and then also you can do this as well, and see if you like it first, see if it feels good, because I say things, and people can look at somebody that loves something and go, okay, they love it, but is this for real? So we've created an opportunity for people to come together and experience it for themselves. We have learned some really amazing, some things I wasn't expecting to learn that I'll share soon. So basically we bring parent camp is, it's where family, school, and community connect, strengthen, and collaborate for kids. And those purpose pieces have been the biggest, have made the biggest impact of all. And I'll talk about those as we get going.
Yeah, I know. It's so powerful. And has your role changed at all now that COVID-19 has been really at the forefront of this whole experience? I think more than ever, people are seeing the need for us to truly work together as partners. I always like to think of our school community and our outside community as like they're married during this school time where we're trying to support students better than ever. So have you guys seen an influx of people needing support or the resources that people are asking for in hopes to better connect with their community?
Yeah. So one thing we hear is over and over is parents and families saying, oh my gosh, teachers, thank you. We did not, they are grateful. They want to know how you do what you do. They're like, I just want to talk to teachers and find out, how do you motivate kids? How do I do this at home? They are grateful. And vice versa on the other side, teachers are like, oh my gosh, this feels so good. I'm actually talking to my parents more than I ever did before, and so there's this, like, how do we keep this going? And are we okay with just going back and doing what we've always done that doesn't feel good? It doesn't work. We know there's something missing. So yeah, I think I lost the train of thought, but the big thing is that family and school really do want to work together. And when you put them in the right conditions, like, it is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah, Laura, I really want to talk about those parent camps because I was able to facilitate some of those conversations with my really great friend, Dr. Neil Gupta. So I know that you have an amazing just team and network that is helping you really amplify the power of the work that you're doing. I do have to say, though, before we get to that, we just yesterday kicked off our Teach Better webinar series that's now free for educators. And we titled it Better at a Distance. So essentially for the next 6 weeks, we're doing 12 sessions and we're kicking off a topic Monday afternoon. And then we're hosting a Q&A on that same topic. And the hope would be that a teacher could get some food for thought on a Monday, either by joining the webinar live or getting access to the recording afterwards at Teach Better Academy. And then they could try something throughout the week and then have a debrief, this Q&A with that expert educator on Friday to go over hurdles or talk about what they had questions about or something that came up after trying something. And our hope would be for the next 6 weeks, really having this open forum for discussion. And that's not only something that I know Parent Camp allows, this open forum for conversation, but one of the main elements that came up yesterday during our first session that we did, it was dedicated to remote learning essentials. And one of the main ones, it was number 4 out of the 5 that we discussed, was communication with stakeholders and how we really need to be authentic and be genuine and be giving more information than ever to our stakeholders. So I love that you're bringing up that people are feeling like they're connecting more with their families, because I'm hoping that teachers are getting more comfortable recording videos, getting comfortable really being not only teachers for students, but teachers for our parents as well, so we can start to ease any stress or frustration that's coming up from remote learning being a reality for families all across the country.
Yeah, absolutely. What I want to say, first of all, is that what you've got set up there, this Monday through Friday piece, is two-way communication, and it's an arc, and that's beautiful. The kind of two words that I always talk about and in training is communication versus connection. And what the number one thing that we've found at Virtual Parent Camp over the past 6 weeks, we're going on 7 weeks this Wednesday, every Wednesday night. What we found is that parents want connection, which is a two-way, which is relationship. They don't want communication. Now, I'm going to say communication from my perspective, which feels to me like a one-way. It's just the way that it's turned out. Communication is about putting things out for the parents. It's a one-way transmission, and that doesn't work. It keeps the gap between us. Yeah. So what you've done is you're working on this. Okay, here's some information. That's great. But now you're saying, okay, now let's move this energy between, and that's part of the what works, what's needed.
Well, and I really like that difference, because you're right. As an educator, you can choose to just push out information, which I think in survival mode, a lot of teachers were doing. They were just like, they were being overloaded with information from education companies, literally allowing everything to be free. And then we were acting as communicators, just pushing out information to our parents and our students, just in hopes that they could hold on to something. And the reality is that as we transition, we really need to find that difference between communication and connection. I love that you're talking about connection being a two-way street where you're sharing information and then students and parents are sharing information back with you, and you're going back and forth, because that's truly where we want to see education in general, where it is a two-way learning process for everyone involved. And that's so important.
Second thing we learned ties into that is parents don't want more resources and information, ... in isolation. It's not that they don't want it, but I don't know if you've had this, but have you noticed your inbox kind of keeps filling up with, especially in education, here's this, here's that, here's this. And you just have to push it away because it kind of crowds in. So they want it, but they want it within the context of relationships and within the context of the people that really matter for their kids, their family, school, and community around them.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can do that and do it really well. It feels really good. And that's the good news that I want to share.
Well, and I think that it's important during these daily drop-ins that we not only talk about how to support educators, but supporting educators as they support their parents and their students, which is why I was so excited to bring you on, because I know obviously you're a teacher at heart. You do education just like all of us, but you having this perspective, this key element of constantly having the lens of how can we better support our families is really a gift that I want to continue to have you just share as much as possible, because I think a lot of us have a lens of content. A lot of us have a lens of building relationships with students, and all those perspectives are great, but we can't forget about our families. So tell us a little bit. We're about 12 minutes in. We have a lot of people sharing in our comments, still saying good morning, but also just agreeing with all these important elements that you're sharing about connecting with families, making them feel like they're a part of something, and also just continuously hosting events that allow our families to stay connected during this time, during remote learning. Tell us about what our Wednesday nights look like that you're hosting. Every single Wednesday night, you bring people together to be a part of conversations just like this. So what does that look like? What's that called? And how can people get involved?
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you're on Twitter and you type in #VirtualParentCamp, you'll see we send out a registration link it's on Zoom, of course. And so you sign up, and that day, the day of, on every Wednesday, you'll get an email with the registration link, for Zoom. So then at 7:00 Central, 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific, we gather together. You just log in, and we're all in the main room in Zoom together. And we have a ritual called wave therapy. So we do that, and we take a couple pictures. It just breaks the ice. It feels there's something special about, a wave and a smile. And then we set the conditions for how we interact with each other. And that's the key part, right? That's really important. Then we go to breakout rooms, because you tell us where you want to start. Okay, you might want to start in room 2 or room 4. And so you're magically teleported there by Julie Pyle. She's president of Parent Camp, and she's the one that she is the maestro on the technology. So she ports everybody out, and then you're in these rooms. Now, I want to tell you something important about these rooms that's really cool. The topics are not decided by me or Julie. They're decided by the collective. And I'm going to tell you, it's like taking the weights, these heavy bricks off my shoulders. I remember reflecting as an educator. I taught for 20, coached for 3. Kids would come up with things, you'd kind of do PBL and kids will come up with things or families will. And you're like, wait a second, why have we been doing this all along? It's kind of like we say, okay, it's our job. We have to figure it out. And if we don't figure it out and it's bad, it's bad. And, and family engagement becomes this management issue. And it's just, we know there's something more. So the topics we ask at the end of each one, what do you want to talk about in the future, right? And then that's what the rooms are. So they're completely in line with the community that comes in. So then during the sessions, you can actually go between sessions anytime you want. You have complete freedom and autonomy to go where you want, when you want. It's based on Ed Camp. That portion is based on Ed Camp. I mean, I was a big Ed Camper starting in 2012, changed my life. The experience of it, I'm like, okay, this feels really good. And then you can talk when you want. Okay. We used to do physical parent camps, and we'll get back to it. But so that was always in circles, right? And it's scary because it's different to schools, because they think, well, what's going to happen? Are people just going to say mean things, or could this go downhill like sometimes family engagement does because of the conditions? But it doesn't. So it's a very beautiful thing. Not a lot of people switch, but it's still, they have the freedom to. And then when a question comes up, they can ask it. Some of the beauty inside that piece is that parents help other parents. Like, they're actually giving benefit and encouragement and support to each other. Also, in the conversations, you learn a lot just from the conversation. It's not being done to you, it's being done with. So we work with facilitators on how to do that, because that's not something we do in schools. It's really not something we're used to do. So people go back and forth, and then we end it's 30 minutes. And then we are ported back to the main room. And this is where we share our ahas. We share what we want to do next week. We have kind of we talk about it. We kind of report out on the rooms, and that's it. It's 1 hour total. And people leave with a lot. We put everything up on the screen people are saying. And so you have this view of, wow, it's positive. It's hope. Then we're done until the next week. And we look at all the topics and the purposes, and then reach out to facilitators. Like, I reached out to Neil, and then he brought you in. And I'm feel so happy and blessed about the power of networks and
Well, and you have such a loyal community. I feel like I was welcomed into this beautiful parent camp family. And I've heard, it seems like now I'm surrounded by it. I hear about it all the time. I have people sharing about how much benefit they're getting. Tell me about the audience. I mean, obviously you're welcoming parents into this, but something that I really enjoyed was that there was more than just parents there. There was educators, community members. It's really not just a space. If you're a classroom teacher listening right now saying, oh, I could visit that. It's really a much larger, more dynamic group, correct?
Correct. You brought up a great point. When you hear the word parent camp, when we came up with that was because parents weren't talked about much in the equation. No fault of anybody's, just the system. So now we would love to call it Family School Community Camp, but that's too long, right? So yeah, great point. It's not just parents. In fact, if you had a parent camp and it was all parents and just a few teachers, that wouldn't be ideal. You want teachers and parents and community and family. Virtual parent camp this week, people started asking the last 2 weeks, we want students involved. We want to hear from students. So we said, okay, and we have 2 sessions. One is with the student voice team from the Pritchard Committee, and one is with the directors at Deeper Learning Hub and Share Your Learning. Did a 3-week strengthen series where family, school, community could learn how to design family engagement around their kids at home because they want to learn how. So reached out to people and they did that. They're having a student exhibition, and that's what Share Your Learning does. If you don't know about Share Your Learning, check it out. It's Michelle Pledger and Mari Jones. Amazing.
Love it.
So yeah, everybody. There's such magic in that.
And I really enjoyed, I've gotten to participate in one, and I not only loved hearing the discussion in the group that I was in, again with Dr. Neil Gupta, but also when we came back together, the opportunity to have everybody kind of share what they experienced for that half an hour is so invaluable, because you can not only really dive deep into an idea in that discussion format in the breakout that you're in, but even if you weren't able to jump out into other breakouts, coming together, you're still able to share those insights, those aha moments. And I loved hearing that not only there were different topics going on in the breakout, there were different languages being spoken in the different breakouts. That I don't know why that was so shocking to me, because how foolish, how ignorant of me to assume that it was all done in English, because I mean, truly shame on me for assuming that. But how beautiful it was to come together and share that there was a multitude of languages all talking within Parent Camp at once, which not only creates better discussion, but really welcomes in more people to participate in that conversation.
Yeah. So once again, this is not like we're not brilliant. We've got this process that everybody can use. And the community said, we want, we'd like to have a room in all Spanish so we could really connect with families that can't, that aren't fluent in English and won't come to this because they think it's all in English. I wouldn't either, right? And I'm the same way. Like that came up, and you're like, okay, this is good. And we've got just so much feedback. We have an Arabic room, and they're Ramadan right now, so they'll be back. They had 13, 14 people for 2 weeks, and they were just overflowing with gratitude. And the interesting thing from both rooms, we asked when we came back together, how was it? And they're like, well, both of them said, well, we've got dialects and different cultures to deal with within our language, and we, the first thought is, oh, they all get, everybody can speak their own language, like if English in a different country. And they said it was interesting. They learned about each other, and it was fun to kind of navigate that piece. So that has been huge, and that's really just driven by the community. We're moving into getting things translated, videos in Spanish about it, in Arabic, and then adding different languages. So we're just growing with our community.
Well, and there's so many resources that can be shared in that environment. I get to participate in a number of different masterminds and roundtables kind of that happen throughout the month. And Parent Camp is a perfect example of people coming together. You never know what resources are going to be shared, but there's always oodles. And it allows people to just kind of walk away with a different mindset than when they entered. I think people are always eager to learn, and that's why people who want to learn sign up for stuff like this. But you always kind of walk away saying, oh, I didn't know what I was going to get today. And now that I received so many resources or so many different tactical takeaways, you like, it gives you a little pep in your step for the rest of the week. It's perfect to have this on a Wednesday.
Yeah. And so 2 things came up. 1 is feelings, and 2 is the purposes. So feelings are really, we kind of discounted them in the past. We don't really talk about that. We just focus on what we need to provide. Well, feelings drive our behaviors, our thoughts, our actions. So if we feel good, happy, you know how this is. When you feel happy, your bandwidth is wider. You will kind of meet challenges more face on. If you're feeling lower energy, then you kind of close up. So feelings are important. And when you go to a parent camp, because of the conditions it's set up with, which we're not used to, right? They're different from the compliance conditions. People leave and they're like, thank you, just like I felt at Ed Camp. Like you just feel like this weight lifting off. And it's not inconsequential that parents are happy. That's the starting point. I'm telling you, teachers, I've seen teachers in tears because parents they were interacting, and parents said, you've changed the life of our family because you've changed things for our child, and it's helped our whole family. And teachers don't get that feedback. So if we can come together in the right way, The other thing is the purpose piece. And I can do that now, or I can talk about that.
Please.
All right. So when you start and you come together, right, and you have these choices, that's great, but it's talking about. So that's our purpose, is talking. Well, after so long, that kind of loses. So what we've come up with is we've worked on a long time, that there are 3 purposes for the sessions. Okay, so because we can come together and actually create and make a better world for our kids, like we really can. So there are 3 levels, 3 purposes. One is connect, and that's what they all start out as. Your first parent camps are all just connect. Just what's it like to be together? What's it like to let the room talk and not, have somebody in charge? And then what we found, this was the amazing thing, by week 3 of National Virtual Parent Camp, it started coming in, we want to do something. We want to do something. And so the other two purposes are strengthen, which is not learn. We didn't choose learn because learning sometimes has a passive connotation. I'm going to learn. So this is about strengthening. It's the opposite of kind of school has that deficit model. So what do we want to get better at that will help us in our family system, the system kids always go back to, or at school, if you're a teacher, or wherever in the community? What do people want to learn? What do they want to strengthen, gain confidence? And then the final one is, what do they want to collaborate on? What do they actually want to lean into together and try to improve? So by the end of week 3, and this was the most we started seeing, we want to do something. We actually want to do something. Okay, talking is great. We want to do something. So then we went to the Strengthen series, and we had a Collaborate series on equity. Because equity is our number 1 requested topic. It's not about complaining. We are in a partnership with the state of Kansas Department of Education. We did 4 parent camp experiences for parents and teachers. And one observation was, teachers, educators will think that parents complain, but it's because of the subject. They don't complain, even though there's a lot of stress. They weren't there to complain. They just wanted to connect, right? So these purposes, by week 6, all of our sessions were collaborate and strengthen. Okay, so rapidly, this is what just blew my mind, and I didn't think it couldn't happen, but I just didn't see it coming. Like the week before in our post chat, the 2 sessions that were connect, the Arabic room and the Spanish, they said, no, we want to create something for our families. We want to do something. And now that's growing because they're actually going to get in touch. And I don't know how it's going to go. I don't have to be in charge of that. That's up to them. We work with the facilitators, and they're pulling people in leadership. So that is what I want to tell. My big good news is that family, school, and community want to work together to make the world a better place. And if you create the right conditions, that's collective efficacy. And collective efficacy that we talk about, John Hattie, is huge, right? Impact, and that's teachers. That's educators. Imagine when you add family, school, and community. Sky's the limit.
So I have to know, you have these on Wednesdays. I want to get into the details of how you can join this, how you can see the topics. And again, for a daily drop-in, I love that all these comments, you have people pulling quotes that you're saying into the comments. Dave Schmitto just posted, when you're happier, your bandwidth is wider. He says he's totally stealing that. He loves it. I think people are really connecting with this content because they do agree that what you're sharing on is so important, not only to educators, but truly to a larger community, which is the whole concept. But I have to know, if we have mostly educators listening, whether this is a classroom teacher, an administrator, a district leader, is this something that they should choose to pop into tomorrow, happening on Wednesday? Should they maybe push this out to their families and invite anybody in their community to join? What do you recommend starting out if this is the first time hearing about Parent Camp? How far can they push this message? How quickly should they be pushing this message?
So I would recommend, if you're curious at all, pop in yourself any Wednesday. So we just do this every Wednesday, so anybody can jump in, and we're also still practitioners, right? We're not just doing it. We're not just saying, here's how you do it. We're actually learning as we go. So pop in, and then I would recommend do that yourself first and see what you think. See what it feels like, see the potential, And then reach out and maybe start emailing your family, school, and community and say, if you're curious, we found something that is helpful, and you might find you might want to connect there. So you could target some, groups of people, but you could also email out, like Ray said. That's a great idea. Parents don't have
a silly question.
They don't have that info. Like, we've got it on Twitter, we got it on Facebook, but if they're not tapped into that, they're not getting it. So they really rely on you to build their capacity.
Absolutely. So I have some silly questions. So first off, if I'm interested, if I want to join like tomorrow, Wednesday evening, to just see what's going on, where do I go to get registered so I can get the link in my email? And then also, when I'm there, can I preview the topics in advance so I can pick which room I want to be in?
Yeah. So if you go to parentcamp.org, one of the tabs says register for virtual parent camp. And so that's for this week. You click on the link and it'll have the image, which has all our choice, the room sessions and who's facilitating. And it's not about the facilitator, but they are kind of the person that just keeps things going, and they have, a passion and expertise. And we want to lift them up and keep lifting family, school, and community up that help us. So go there. You'll see the image. You'll see the choices. You'll register. It's free, and then you will get an email on Wednesday. We're working on getting a reply email so you don't have to wait. But that's what you do, and then you show up at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, and you have to show up. Here's one caveat: you have to show up within 5 minutes of start time, because you can't come in the middle of it, because you're going to come in most likely in compliance conditions. You're going to be used to educators sharing and everybody else listening, and then Q&A. So you got to be there. We open the door about 10 till, and it's open for 15 minutes, and then we close it. And that's because the conditions are so important. So that's important. Find up any week. Go to parentcamp.org.
Okay, so that's really important. So I need to make sure I'm on time, which we can all do. So make sure that you're registered and that you sign in on time, because you want to make sure you're in that collaborative setting. So you know what, you're committing an hour, you'll get your link, you get to pick what breakout you want to be in, and then you'll also be in that larger group. Do I have to sign up like every Wednesday, every weekend you go on to register, or do I automatically get the link?
No, you sign up every week, because it's a different link because of, all the Zoom safety you might have become aware of. So you go every week and sign up. And if you get on our mailing list, we email that out, so you don't have to go to the website every time. We have a lot of great family, school, community newsletter.
Well, and you can set yourself a little calendar reminder on Monday afternoons or Tuesday mornings. You got to go and register, make sure you're signed up for this week's Wednesday event. And then it kind of allows you to not only get a taste of something, but also get a taste of something so you can learn, and get a taste of something that you can share out with your parents and your community so that they can continue learning as well, if you feel like it's a good environment for them. I love that there are a number of people, Dave Schmittou and Emily, are posting the link, which is parentcamp.org, so they could see that. And we did just get a question, can you tell me how to connect for tomorrow? That's kind of all the details we need to make sure that we can get registered and sign up for Wednesday's event, correct?
Mm-hmm, you got it. We, let's see, we're having the student voice session, and they're going to talk about how to make learning around students. Kind of echoes. We were honored to be asked by Go Boundless, Emily Liebtag, Sir Ken Robinson, and Ted Dintersmith. They had a conference online last week called A New Way Forward, and we shared there. And anyway, have you ever just lost your train of thought?
Well, I think that the point is that this is a really big collaborative effort of people. This is good people coming from around the country that are sharing this idea. I got it.
Okay, so they are in line with what Go Boundless is trying to do, which is, what happens if are we okay going back to like it always has been? Or are we going to come together and go, okay, is there a better way? Like, can we come together? So the student voice team, thank you for bringing me back, what is really coming in, trying to talk about how we can make learning around us. And then we have the session that's finishing strength, share your learning, where we want students to come in and share the awesome things that they're doing. So if you have students that are involved that would like to share, like email them and encourage them to come. We would love to have that. I tagged Maya Green from the A New Way Forward conference. I tagged everybody there. Then we have the Spanish room. It's typically in all Spanish, but people will drop it in English. A lot of times, if you know Spanish, you can understand it more than speak it. And they're super excited. They're creating resources that will really help families, and they're reaching out to their networks and going with that. And then we have we have an occupational therapist. She is coming in and teaching like simple sensory techniques to use with your kids to self-regulate, because that's one of the second highest requested topic is mental health and just how do I manage all this. So we have met that need as well.
And I love it. And it's all free. I mean, everything we're talking about is just a free get together. It's essentially like everybody right now is scheduling Zoom calls with their families or doing, virtual cocktail hour. This is a virtual, free, fun time. Just all come together and be a little bit better, which is that teach better mindset, right? A little better today than we were yesterday, a little better tomorrow than we were today. And the more that we can adopt that is so important.
One other thing, there's a session, the other session I've not mentioned, which is our equity collaboration. It's our first collaboration series. Mm-hmm. And we're working on partnering up with some people. There are processes there, and there's training that will go in to be able to do the strengthen and the collaborate sessions well. So we're the people, Duncan Kirkwood and Amy Casey, they're leading that. And so the families had an assignment last week to go out and find 5 examples of things that are being done in equity with distance learning that are being done and they're working, and they came back and shared it. And now they're going out and talking to their communities, and they're reporting back Wednesday. So you can just kind of see how that feels, collaboration, like actual people saying, we want to do this together.
Yeah, Bree's commenting, when you give parents a platform where they feel heard, you gain collaboration instead of having a complaint train in the community. Love this idea. So I think that that's not only something that we can participate in with Parent Camp, but also just a great message that we should be thinking about as we're trying to support our parents the whole time throughout this, giving them a space to feel heard and being able to really be partners throughout the learning process rather than just people that are following the rules that you've set up as an educator. It should be a collaborative effort. That whole ecosystem of learning is so important. And Laura, I think you've not only highlighted that throughout our time together for this daily drop-in, but also shown people multiple ways that they can kind of continue forward with this idea, hopefully by joining Parent Camp on Wednesday nights.
Would love to see it, love to have your presence and your voice. It really, really does matter, every person that comes in. And then we ask you if you want to facilitate, if there's something you're passionate about. We have a form that you can fill out, and then we look at that every week, like who could we pull in, and does this match up with what people want? What people are asking that for.
Well, I'm excited. I hope that anybody listening right now, if you have more comments, whether it be about Parent Camp like itself on Wednesday nights and how that the infrastructure is hosted, or if you just have questions about how you can better connect with your community, feel free to post them here. We'll be happy to answer questions as we continue forward. We've been live for about 40 minutes, Laura, if you can believe it. This time flies by. I know. But I do want to know, with all the things that you're doing, you've shared not only kind of like the dream situation of what you're trying to accomplish very early on, you kind of shared your goals for really trying to reunite all these groups together. But then you also have shared a lot of different steps that educators can take to be a part of this larger concept. Has there been any major takeaways that you feel like throughout the parent camps that you've been hosting, throughout the districts that you've been working with to facilitate this conversation, kind of like the biggest takeaway that you hope people are getting from the work that you're doing? Maybe something that was maybe an aha moment or just a really touching moment to say, yes, this is kind of why I'm doing this work. I want people to really take this idea away.
When you start doing this, like if you lean in and you say, okay, it's not okay to go back. It's not best for kids. If you decide as family school community, it's not best for kids to keep doing what we're doing and have this gap, and you lean into it, I want to tell you that the feelings, the emotions, the connectivity, the satisfaction with, changing the world, it feels tremendous, and it can be yours. So I supported a parent camp in Kansas, USD 313, and they just did one, I think it was last Thursday. And the feedback coming off of that, the thing that I noticed is the family, school, and community had just done one. They didn't really know about the strengthen and collaborate. Well, their comments on what do you want to do in the future were like off the charts. Amazing ideas. They're all out there and they want the opportunity. They're like, oh, wait, we can actually work together and talk and we can lead. Yes, parents as leaders. Yes, community as leaders. We're all together and it takes the weight off of us. So I want to tell you that it's possible. Your parents want to get together. They really do in the right conditions. And the thing that we're up against, the monster that we're trying to break, is the compliance conditions monster. Parents are so used to and we don't know that we're doing it, but when parents come in and sit in rows and they have no choice and they can't talk till the end, we're reinforcing non-agency and you're in control. My power doesn't matter. My divine power doesn't matter. Only yours does. In fact, the only people seeing me is the person at the front of the room. So we're breaking that. And when you break that, I'm telling you, it's amazing. And I want that for you. I want your family, school, community to be united around your kids so that opportunities, support, love, and resources can flow freely.
Yeah, isn't it interesting? You have this movement of educators that are moving to more of a flexible seating classroom where there's no longer rows facing the front, but students are seated in tables or in circles. And that really is to further emphasize that we are a full learning community and the teacher is really changing roles from the content delivery system to a facilitator. Whereas when we have coming back to school nights and parents come in, they sit in rows and the teacher becomes the content delivery system again. And instead, if you could take those rows of parents coming into your classroom to hear a presentation from the teacher, and instead you sit in a circle and you're more of a collaborative community coming together to learn about how your students are going to have an amazing learning experience for the year, you're really changing that dynamic where the educator is no longer the delivery system, but truly the facilitator of learning for both parents and students. And I think that continues to be something that educators are shifting towards in their classrooms. But how can we take that shift and also apply it to our families, our communities, and everybody in between?
Oh, you have a gift with words, right? You have a gift. I just want to say, you are such a wonderful interviewer. You're really gifted, and I've really enjoyed getting to know you and to be a part of this wonderful community that you have nurtured and has a lot of, I can tell there's relational trust built up between people. So kudos to you, and hey, everybody out there. I can't join that group. I'm not in that Facebook group yet.
Well, you're going to join our Facebook group now and you're a part of the family. I know a lot of people are going to be asking for resources and wanting to learn more about the work you're doing. I know you technically are an education consultant, but I really think of you as a connector. And I think the more that you can kind of share and be a part of that conversation with our network and networks, even beyond the Teach Better family, is going to be really powerful for our communities and for our students. So I'm so glad that you were able to join us for the daily drop-in.
Me too. This has been a wonderful start to my day. My day's just going to be straight fire from here. So thank you so much, everybody, Ray and the Teach Better team and everybody out there. And I look forward to you experiencing the same thing, the same reality with your family, school, community.
So wonderful. Well, for everybody listening now, we've been live for about 45 minutes. If you want to connect with Laura further, you can absolutely go to parentcamp.org. But Laura, is there anywhere else that they can go to truly connect with you, maybe engage with you in some dialogue, to learn more about the work you're doing, maybe bring you into the school district as a partner, kind of elements like that?
Yeah. So parentcamp.org, we're working feverishly on the training. Because the training, it's not like a checklist, you can just go, let's do this. Because our embodied cognition, we fall back into compliance mode and we don't know it. So once you do the training with your family, school, community engagement team, you're set. But so on there, that's where we'll have that up our plan is within a week. We've got all sorts of stuff going on with that. Twitter, I'm Laura Gilchrist 4. And you can reach out to me on my website, lauragilchrist.edu.com, and you You can message me any place. I've got Calendly on my email, and I really would love to help your school district train school teams so that you can move into the relationship and then through to the collective efficacy piece.
I love it. If you're also listening here, don't forget the Teach Better team, in addition with Laura, are really trying to support educators all over that are just trying to do their best during remote learning, whether it be for the rest of our school year now through the summer, or even just ways to kick off for August. We really are here as a collaborative partner. So whether you're visiting parentcamp.org for resources, connecting with Laura, going to teachbetter.com, joining our webinar series, reading a blog, listening to a podcast, we really are all here to try and provide you as much value as possible to help us be better and better connect with students. So I hope you all choose to register for our Better at a Distance webinar series that's going on, because it really does echo a lot of what Laura's been sharing with that element of connection and wanting this to be a deeper conversation. In addition to, I hope you guys try out a parent camp, and you can register at parentcamp.org to just see what all this is about and join the conversation. The more that we can kind of all come together and be a part of that, the better way that we can grow and support our students.
One more thing, Laura, I want to say Happy Teacher Appreciation Week. And I also want to give a shout out. Emily Howell is out there. She and I facilitated a session last week on how to approach this Teacher Appreciation Week when we're not connected. And so we put out a list from our group. It was a collaboration purpose. And the thing that came out of that, and this was from Brandon Burns, he said, the parents are teachers, right? So Teacher Appreciation Week has a much bigger context. Again, my brain went back to teachers only. And then he brought up, and it's like, really, it's all of us. So happy Teacher Appreciation
to everyone. I love it. And I do want to give a shout out. We have a number of different teacher appreciation codes that are available for the Teach Better team for 25% off swag, 50% off courses. I just love that we're able to just further share more things with our community. So keep your eye out for that on social media. But we are going to head out. Laura, thank you again for joining us. I know there's been so much word. Thank you so much. And for everyone else, we'll see you super soon.